Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday, the 25th of July, a little bit after noon. It's about 5 minutes after 12. I didn't get up until 11 o'clock because I wanted to sleep in on Sunday. I didn't have an alarm clock, and my wife woke me up at 11 going, "Hon, you said you didn't want to sleep past 11." And it took me a few minutes to get out of bed because I was like, because I didn't have a good night. I had a rough night. Even though by 1:30 in the morning, I turned off all my digital devices trying to go to sleep, and my mind wouldn't let me. I was like tossing and turning, and yesterday was not exactly the greatest of days. I wanted to get started on work on things, and I did a little short video of me dealing with my ElfQuest comics and collectibles, as well as a bunch of other little things that were left in the craft room. So I ended up cleaning off one shelf in one of the shelving units that we have in the craft room of my stuff, and I was ready to start doing more. But Jerry was having a bad day. Jerry was having a bad hip day. She was in not excruciating pain where we needed to run to the hospital, but just in enough pain that she couldn't do much. So I ended up spending the rest of the day just trying to clean up and whatnot, but I couldn't focus. When I realized what was going on with Jerry and a lot of things that were already going on in my head, I just had trouble focusing. Today is Sunday, and today was our normal planned day of rest. And Jerry said she's going to spend the whole day in bed because she's still, her lower back, hip, and knee is giving her a lot of problems. And I think it's probably the same problem I have from time to time is sciatica, because her description of her pain and the locations of the pain and the fact that it's only in those particular areas, my brain automatically goes sciatica. She did something. Her back gave her, her back is giving her problems, which is pinching off the sciatic nerve, which is causing the pain to radiate down her left neck. Is it left or right? Her left, one of her legs. I can't remember which one it is anymore because I'm like, my brain is like, is it left? Is it right? Which is left? Which is right? What's but I came across a. Sorry, my eyes started to itch and whatnot. Let me see if I can say your first name, but by the looks of it, it's Laura Lee. Hopefully, I said that right. Looks like my cousin Matthew's wife's name, Laura. But she asks here, and it's a doozy of a question. How do you balance your life between YouTube, DoorDash, homemaking, and caring for your family? Well, I tell you what, Laura. It's a very big, daunting task, and I don't take it all on at the same time or within the same day. There are days where I focus on the work around the house. There are days or times during the day that I focus on doing door dashing. Homemaking has been difficult because we're trying to work on all the different projects. So I have difficulty keeping up with the cleanliness of my house. I do the best I can. As for caring for my family, that's an automatic. My family comes first and foremost. That's the way I was raised. Family is first and foremost. If you have a situation in your house that needs your attention, all other things is put on the wayside temporarily until you can deal with whatever the family trauma or drama or however you want to put it. But caring for my family is first and foremost. I make sure everybody's okay. I make sure Jerry's comfortable, mom's comfortable. I usually don't have to worry about mom because mom keeps to herself. The only time I worry about mom is when it comes to, did you eat? Because she is starting to almost be like my grandmother, who only ate one, maybe twice a day, and it was minuscule at best. unless it's something that when it comes to mealtime, when I do cook instead of the days that are fin for yourself days, she'll eat decent amount of food. But when it's fin for yourself day, it's like she had not even a full portion of leftover bourbon chicken that we had Tuesday or Wednesday. She had that for her leftover for her meal last night, the leftovers, and she only ate about half of it. And her excuse is she's been having gum issues. I think she needs to have her dentures replaced because those dentures are probably 50 plus years old. I don't know. So who knows what kind of issues the dentures are causing her gums. But that's her main excuse. Is the reason why she can't eat that much is because she has trouble chewing. Which I can kind of understand because I don't wear my dentures because they don't fit properly. They cause gum problems. They get food and whatnot stuck in between the upper plate and the gum, the roof of my mouth, which makes it harder for me to swallow or enjoy salads because I enjoy salads. So I haven't been wearing my dentures either. So I only have upper dentures. I don't have lower dentures. So I have not been wearing those because of the issues it causes my gums, because they're not properly fitted, or I forgot exactly what. Well, one part of it is properly fitted. Two is when they try to trim it down to fit it into my upper lip area. There's a piece that's kind of, they try to file it down and whatnot, but it's still a little, it still causes problems. Sorry, I have an itch in the back of my head. Instead of scratching, I'm trying to rub it. So yeah, my first priority is my family. Everything else falls on the wayside. I'm gonna go from the top of the list and try to address each one, except for the caring for my family, because that was my primary one. YouTube. Basically, what I do is I spend an hour or so. Try to spend less than an hour, but I end up spending more than an hour dealing with YouTube, trying to get my brain to function and formulate my thoughts so I can sit down and do a video, whether it's just general chat like I'm doing right now, or structured chat because I'm reading from a book. I try to plan in advance what I'm going to do, but 9 times out of 10, it's kind of like, okay, I read this information last night from this book. Let's talk about it. Or there are just times where I'm like, I don't know what I want to do, but I know I need to do something, and I try to clear my head enough to just talk about what's been going on with my life, or around the house. I know a lot of people think when people sit down in front of a camera and talk about just themselves that they're full of themselves or anything like that. No, I'm not one of those type of people. I mean, yeah, I've got a lot of ideas and I'm full of information and full of things, but I don't really focus that much on myself unless it's like a specific issue, like I'm trying to vent and get something off my chest, and I've been trying to go, hey, look, let the people know you're venting so they don't, have issues or anything like that. So YouTube has been one of those kind of things where it's like, at first it was an adventure just to, yeah, granted, I first started my YouTube with Bible studies and whatnot, because at the time I didn't have a lot of resource information on things that I was interested outside of the Bible. And yeah, I've stepped away from the Bible a lot because it's like one of these controversial, there are people out there who don't want to hear somebody else's take on the Bible, or there are people out there who either get snippy or try to ridicule you for your point of view, because it's your, it's granted you're taking it from the Bible, but it's your point of view. And I've learned one of the things that the Bible isn't just for the general populace. It's also for the individual person, to better yourself in one way or another. And that's, every time I step away from the Bible, it's not just because of the fact that I'm not interested in the Bible anymore. It's because of the fact that I'm trying to broaden my horizon and better myself in a lot of different areas. Knowledge of my ancestors, things like that. And I keep on telling people I'm not following the practices of the Norse people or Norse paganism. I'm just broadening my horizons to understand their thoughts or their way of dealing with things, because, well, the Bible is not just to be a narrow, blinding of the rest of the world. It's to help you cope with the rest of the world. And I think one of the best ways to cope with the rest of the world is learning about the rest of the world in the different cultures. Um, but my YouTube channel has kind of evolved into a mixture of theology, mythology, cooking, just ways of trying to make my life better. And I hope that by talking about these things, it helps other people make their lives better. So I'm not trying to focus on me, even though I use myself as an example of how things have evolved in my life and changed for the better, I hope. So I try to spend some time on YouTube talking about the various subjects I'm interested in, or just my life in general. Um, just for it's. I don't want to say it's just something to do. It's more like I have fun with it. I enjoy it. I mean, yeah, there are times where I come across people who make comments that are just like, nope, no, you're being too negative for what I'm trying to do, and I don't need that. Don't want it. You're, I try to give them a chance to redeem themselves, but a lot of times people don't redeem themselves. They just get worse because they're like, oh, he's not talking to me about it. He's not saying anything about it. I've got 14 of his people giving me thumbs up. I'm just going to continue being a little pain in the ass. Excuse my terminology. And that's when I go, bye, you're done, you're gone, see you later. I do have one or two people who on here who try to cross-examine some of my knowledge and whatnot, but I'm finding that some of those people are looking at one particular part of the information or one particular resource for their information, and it's kind of like some of that information is old school information, and they're finding out more and more new stuff, especially when it pertains to like the Viking era and how long the Vikings were in England and all that fun stuff. And I just kind of go, that's great. I've seen that information. I know that information, but I also know this information and this information. And I don't always quote my resources or put my resources on in my information boxes, because if I found it, you guys can find it easily, and you just have to, like I said before, I don't like being narrow-minded. I like broadening my horizon so I can look at everything. So I don't look at just like this one person, I'm not even going to say their name, has been getting all their information from the ukhistory.org. And I'm like, okay, that's one source. When I go looking at what the Norse people did in England or during their era, I look at the UK history, I look at the Norwegian history, the Danish history, the French history, because they were in France for quite some time. I look at multiple resources. In fact, I've got a ton of different books. I've got, just sitting right here in front of me, that are closest to me without having to stretch across my table. I have Norse Mythology by Jack Jackerson. I have the book of Viking Myths by Archer. I have a book called Vikings by Martin J. Doherty. I cannot pronounce that word, I am sorry. And then I have another one, and I have to pull the book out because the writing is too small on the spine to read it. A book called The Vikings, the Battle of the End of Times by Tony Allen, which I'm going to use this as a reference book when I go to start doing, I think as soon as I'm done reading the American Cozy, I'm going to start reading into, or doing a cross-reference between the Bible's Revelations and that particular book to see, how they connect or how they compare. because every religion, every culture has an end time story. The Native Americans have it. The Aichi have it. The um, Muslims have it. The Israelite, the Jewish community has it. Every culture, every religion has an end story, in time, or end story, end of the world scenario type deal. It fascinates me because of all the things that's happened within the last 10. No, no, no. I'm gonna shorten it. Everything that's happened within the last 2 to 3 years kind of make me go, okay. But that's what I do on YouTube. I do a lot of studies and a lot of cross comparison and a lot of reading, and I bring it to you guys. Um, and I do that for. I'll do a recording, or I'll sit in here for a good hour or so, trying to decide how I'm going to present the information, or just I jump on here and start talking. And I try to focus, but because of hyperactivity and ADHD, I'm just kind of like squirrel. That's the way sometimes it happens, and I go off track and have to get myself back on track. But as for what I do that you don't see when it comes to YouTube is usually later on in the evening time, like after dinner or before bed, I will jump back on YouTube and I will look at the comments and whatnot. And if there's any comments that are questions like this, I write it down so I know what I'm going to talk about the next day, and I come on here and do what I call a Q&A day. A lot of times it's only one or two questions, but this one's a big doozy, so it's going to take the whole video. The next subject she asked about is DoorDash. DoorDash right now, because of the fact that there are so many people in Rolla who are doing DoorDash, and I found out a lot of people who are in Rolla doing DoorDash aren't from Rolla. They'll come down here and spend a little bit of money for a hotel room for a week and do DoorDashing, and then go to like St. Louis or back where they're from, the big cities, to do weekends, because weekends are the busiest in the big cities. So basically right now DoorDash is kind of like, okay, it's lunchtime, let's see how busy it is and see if I can grab a couple, an hour or two worth of DoorDashing and earn, even if I'm only earning 20-30 bucks, a week, because you get paid weekly, it's better than nothing. It's better than being a DoorDasher and getting nothing. But I found out recently that St. James, which is the next town over, which is really easy for me to get to, is going to be getting DoorDash pretty soon. I might be running over there to do some DoorDashing if Rolla doesn't have anything. Then there's Cuba, which is a good 30-minute drive, or 45-minute drive, I can't remember. He's got DoorDashing, but I don't want to deal with the highways, and I don't know Cuba as well as I know Rolla and St. James. And then there's Sullivan, who's a good 45 minutes away, has DoorDashing as well. But those are two towns that are too far away from me. Rolla and St. James are about the best towns for me to deal with, because I know how to get to St. James without having to deal with the highway. And with GPS and whatnot and Google Maps, I won't have a problem getting my way around. That in fact, St. James does not have that many fast food places. It's got McDonald's, Burger King, Subway. I think those are the only three major fast food places. But then they have their mom and pop restaurant and a few other little eateries that you can probably do DoorDashing with. Don't know. If I lived closer to Springfield or St. Robert or Sullivan, because a lot of times when I look at the Sullivan hours, they're looking for people to work from 9:30 in the morning to midnight. And I'm like, that's a full day. That's a whole day. They must not have anybody in Sullivan that wants to do DoorDashing. So if I lived in Sullivan, which would be a little bit closer to my Henson relatives, or a batch of my Henson relatives, yeah, there's about Fran, she's over 80 years old. There's Mary. There's Tony. There's Marvin Jr. and Lawrence. No, Lawrence is in Tony. It's Newton, not Lawrence. Lawrence is in Bowling Green. Newton is somewhere in Cuba or in that general area. So I've got about half a dozen Hensons in the Sullivan, Cuba region that I know about. I don't know about any little ones yet. I don't know if, well, no, I know Newton has a good half dozen kids himself. Tony has got at least 3 or 4. I don't know about Marvin Jr., Mary, or... Oh, I forgot about Christina, or Chris, as she prefers. I don't know if she's got any kids. I know she was married. Last time years and years ago when I talked to them, she was with somebody. I don't know if that was a permanent thing or not. But anyhow, see, there's my squirrel right there. They're family members. I don't hear much from them. I don't know why I can't keep in contact with a lot of my family members. But yeah, DoorDashing right now is kind of like per diem. Grab what you can when you can and hope you can earn money. Look for peak hours, which is usually lunch period and dinner time, anywhere in between 4 and 6. Jerry's all for it. Hey, if you can get times and whatnot, go for it. In fact, I think I have about half an hour to an hour slotted time for me to work Tuesday late evening. Sometimes Tuesday late evenings can get you 1 or 2 DoorDashes. Sometimes you get nada. But I'd rather grab a scheduled time slot to say, hey, look, I'm still working. I'm still trying to work, blah, blah, blah. I know for the last 2 or 3 weeks or more, I have not been doing any DoorDashing because I've been so busy around here. But because we're getting to that point where it's either I get a actual job where I have a set schedule and have to trim this, or stay with DoorDash and hope I can get as much money as possible. And maybe when school starts back up and most of the college kids and high school kids are too busy with school, I can get more hours during the daytime. So yeah, we'll see. But I haven't given up the hopes and dreams that I don't have to go back to a job to cut this or fix this the way they want it to instead of shaving the sides and whatnot. Because I don't want to. I really don't want to. I know I may have to, but I don't want to. Jerry doesn't want me to either. Jerry's like, oh yeah. Anyhow. The next one she's got on here is homemaking. Well, Lori, I don't know. I don't exactly know your specific meaning behind the word homemaking, because to me, homemaking is cooking, cleaning, and all that fun stuff, which I do. I learned from the American Cozy book is you don't have to break yourself to keep your house clean and neat and organized. If you just take 30 minutes to an hour per day to work on one specific room, to spruce up the room. If you can take 30 minutes a day to hit your hot spots, according to what I've read, and your hot spots are basically your major zones, like your kitchen, your dining room, your living room. Those are areas that are used constantly and have the heaviest amount of traffic. Those are the 3 areas that you need to focus on primarily. All the other rooms, if the hot spots are clean, all the other rooms can be touched up. And if you have a if you have a clean, organized, neat house, it should only take you a few minutes per room. Like when my bedroom, this is before New York, before I got married, when I was single. And you think, oh, when you're single, your house was probably a disaster. No. Oh, no. When I was single, my house was so clean and organized and immaculate that I would let the dog or cat, if I had either or, lick the floor. me by nature, after I grew up, stopped being a kid, oh, stopped acting like a kid. I'm still, I don't want to grow up. Um, the old Kids Are Us song just played in my head. I'm sorry. Um, my my style of living before I got married was keep everything neat and clean. In fact, my bedroom alone was so neat and tidy that the only reason why you know it was a boy's room is because of the um, bedding material and design and coloring and I didn't have any girly posters. I didn't have any scantily clad bikini beach beach bunny posters. I had um, posters of warriors. I had posters of the Apache. I had models of airplanes and whatnot sitting on my dresser. You would sit there and look at it and go, okay, this is definitely a boys' room, but who cleaned up? Who keeps a room clean? Mom? No. I kept my own room clean. This is back when Mom and I were living here in Missouri after Arizona. Because even in Arizona, my room was fairly clean. Granted, I'd have a pair of pants or something like that hanging off the chair in the room. My books and my desk were neat and organized, things of that nature. Um, the reason why I was that way when I was younger, or in my teens, surprisingly, in early 20s, is because I grew up. Basically, if mom or dad had to go in a bedroom and the bedroom was a mess and they stepped on something because they were trying to get my clothes into my dresser, whatever that something was would end up in the trash. Yeah, a whole set of Legos got trashed because I left them on the floor one day. I learned my lesson. So I learned at an early age, keep your stuff neat and tidy, otherwise it might not be there when you come home. So yeah, that's part of the military discipline, and not that my father or anybody or my mother were hardcore disciplinarians. They were just simple, hey, look, you want it, you take care of it. If you don't want it, I hurt myself by stepping on it, it's gone. Simple as that. Might seem a little harsh to the newer generation, but no, not really. Not to me. Um, it was a simple understanding. You wanted it. You asked for it. You got it as a gift, or you earned the money to buy it yourself. You take care of it. Because if you don't take care of it, you're under dad's roof. You're under your parents' roof. You have to go by the rules and regulations. Otherwise, something might end up missing, or you'll not earn an allowance for not keeping your stuff clean. Simple as that. It's just the way I was raised. But nowadays, I have to deal with Jerry and all her stuff. I have to deal with mom and her stuff, plus my stuff. And I try to keep my stuff as organized and clean as possible, which right now, because of what we're doing around the house, reorganizing rooms, moving furniture, purging, decluttering, all that stuff, the house is kind of in a semi disarray because I have stuff that's either going to be decoration or going to be yard sale giveaway type stuff that we haven't dealt with yet because we're focusing on trying to get the rooms done. But otherwise, homemaking, I try to do things on the go, on the fly. I've learned that sometimes sitting down to make a schedule or writing out a schedule on a piece of paper or daily planner or something like that, sometimes for me especially, can be chaotic because if something goes awry, like let's say I'm in the middle of trying to do a major cleaning project in the living room, and something happens where Jerry needs me to stop doing what I'm doing to help her, or we have to do something that I forgot about that was already pre-scheduled that I didn't even write down in my book, I get a little like frustrated and snippy because it's like if it's not done today, it's going to screw up tomorrow's schedule. Well, one of the things I've relearned and relearned and relearned is you can't set things in stone. Nothing is truly set in stone. That in fact, just to quote the Bible states, "The past is the past. It's done and over with. Don't worry about it. The present is the present. You need to focus on the present, and don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow will have its own troubles." So I try to, like, when I do sit down and think about what could I do for the day, I try to write down a few little things that I want to get accomplished by the end of the day. And if they don't get accomplished, okay, there's tomorrow. Now, it sounds a little weird because then it's like you're just pushing it off until the next day instead of trying to complete it that day. Well, if I get too worried about it or I get too worked up about it, it just ruins the next day. It just throws it. Well, it not only ruins the day of, but it causes me to, have issues about, oh, I'm not going to be able to fall asleep because this is going to be on my brain, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, just wake up, do your morning routine, see if there's any plans for the day. If there's no plans for the day, try to think of something to do, whether it's cleaning, reading, studying, whatever. Like today is supposed to be our day of rest. I know for a factor because I haven't done it in a good while. The floors need to be swept. There are certain areas around the kitchen that look like they need to be cleaned up a little bit, mostly because of water spots, not food or junk, just water spots from doing the dishes and water splashes everywhere. So it's like, if I wanted to do anything lightweight today, I can at least do the floors. So that's basically how I deal with homemaking. I just one day at a time, because life can throw a monkey wrench into your plans. Let's say, like right now, I'm a stay-at-home person. I don't have a job outside of my home except for DoorDashing. I have no schedule for DoorDashing today unless I grab a couple hours here and there. I'm supposed to be relaxing and resting, and I'm sitting there going, what can I do to rest and relax? Well, I got a lot of stuff that I could be reading, studying. I can goof off on the computer, playing my games, or I can just be sitting, chillaxing, and watching a movie with Jerry. Jerry plans on spending most of the day in the bedroom because she doesn't feel like she's going to be able to sit on the couch or let alone move from... She's having a hard enough time moving from the bed to the bathroom because of the way her sciatic nerve is bugging her. So she said she's going to stay in the bedroom. Well, I can either just let her be in the bedroom and do my own thing the whole day, whether it's cleaning or studying or goofing off, or I can go in there for a couple hours and enjoy a show or something with her. She said it doesn't matter, it's up to me, and I'm just kind of like, are you sure? Because, I'm that guy who will be like, I'm supposed to be taking care of you, I need to check up on you, or whatnot, and she'll be like, that's sweet, you don't have to. We'll get into one of those, not really a fight, but one of those, like, don't let my problems or mood or whatever ruin your day type situation. And I'll be like, not really ruining my situation because I got nothing to do but goof off. So what I might end up doing after this video, which is probably already over half an hour, I might just go in there, check on her, take her empty coffee cup or whatnot, see if she wants anything to eat, make something for her. And that's part of caring for the family. That was the last thing she had on her list, which I know I did talk about it briefly, but for me, because my family right now is disabled, that's the best way I can put it. Jerry's having hip problems, hip and knee problems because of her sciatic nerve. Come tomorrow, we have to make phone calls to set up an appointment for her labs, her x-ray, and possibly see the orthopedic doctor to see if he has a do this to help you out, or let's get you a knee brace or a sciatic nerve cuff or whatever. Only thing I'm worried about the doctor's doing is taking one look at Jerry and going, yeah, you just need to lose weight. She's been big all her life. I worry about her and her weight and whatnot. And I know after being with her for 21 years, 22, moved to New York to be with her in 99. A year later, we get married 2000. So August 5th of 2000 was our wedding. This is 2021. So yeah, 21 years. It will be 21 years, August 5th. Yay! Never thought I'd have a relationship that lasted this long. Not just because of the fact that I was not exactly looking for a relationship, but it's more the factor that I don't stay in one place for more than 3 years. If I'm in any location for more than 3 years, I start getting what I call wanderlust, which is a German word. It's also a word that what I first heard in Dragonlance, which is a D&D or Dungeons and Dragons based novel. I won't get into that. I'll try not to get into that. But wanderlust is like you get the desire and curiosity to just uproot yourself and go exploring or moving to a new area, new location, new state, territory, country, whatever. And it took Jerry nearly all our marriage life to get me to understand there's no need for it no more. There's no need to uproot and go wandering around and finding a new location or relationship or anything like that. She knows that I still get those desires to just go do something new or go explore a new location. That's one of the biggest reasons why we both want to get an RV, so we can go enjoy life, go exploring, go see new places. Because all her life she's been stuck in New York. All my life, I was a military child, and every 3 years we moved someplace new. And so far, the only place that I've ever lived in that I do not want to live in again, of course, it might have changed in the last 30, 40 years, is Little Rock, Arkansas. And I'm starting to think Missouri is going to be another one of those places that I really don't want to live here anymore. Not because the fact there's got because of negative attitudes like there was down in Arkansas during the 70s. But it's just, maybe if I move close up north more, where there's more of a seasonal change and a winter and things of that nature. But I have found out recently on my research for birthday locations, upstate New York, not upstate New York, upstate Missouri. I know. You think upstate, you think New York. Upper Missouri, northern Missouri. There we go, northern Missouri. Even like 2, maybe 3 hours away is a small Renaissance community where they have a Renaissance fair. One of them, there's 3 of them actually. 2 of them are Renaissance. One of them is a Viking reenactment camp, and I just kind of went, and they run all year round. I gotta move up there. I gotta be. Anyhow, but for the sake of my mom, because she wants to move back to Arizona, not Phoenix, but she wants to move in the region close to Prescott Valley area, Winslow, Arizona. And I researched it, and I was like, Mom, you realize they do get as cold as 45 degrees at nighttime during the wintertime, and there are chances, but not a big accumulate, only a quarter inch or so worth of snow, even though it'll be melted by the time you wake up anyhow. I can't live down there. Wintertime, the highs could be in 70s, mid 70s. Lows can be in the upper 30s, lower 40s. But in summertime, it can get to be about 110 during the daytime, and maybe hit the 70s by nighttime. That's too hot for me. I had to go in there in Mom's room not too long ago to help her with a computer issue, and it was 80. It was like 85 or so degrees outside. She had the windows open, and I went in there and I was like, instant sweat, instant difficulty breathing because, well, she smokes. I can't help that part. But I was like, Mom, it is 80. It's in the mid 80s outside, and you've got your windows open. Okay, I understand you're trying to keep warm because we like to keep the house no warmer than 70 degrees. But you're doing harm to yourself. You're doing harm to all your electronic devices. Because high heat is not good for any kind of electronic device. You know, it causes the computer system to overheat, which causes the mainframe components to overheat, which could cause damage, cracking, breaking, and all that stuff to the components within inside the computer. Not only the factor of causing issues with the monitor and her printer and things of that nature. And she was like, well, I don't want to live in an igloo. And I'm like, we don't keep it that cold. In fact, igloos are probably just about as warm as we keep the house. You know, if not a little bit warmer, depending on your igloo, what's packed around the igloo, and what kind of heat source you're using inside the igloo. You know. But I care about her. I try to take care of her. I worry about her with all her smoking, and she has what is considered in the medical community a addictive personality, which I'm not going to talk about because this video is now about 45 minutes long, and I'm sorry. So I'm going to sign off. Laura, Miss Lee, however you want to be called. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this video. You get a glimpse in my chaotic, crazy day and brain. So if you did enjoy it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the question comment box. I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. If I get enough questions, I will have another Q&A day here within the next couple days or so, or as soon as I get all the questions. So you guys can ask the questions. You can ask any question you want to. Don't be afraid to ask questions that you might think are a little too personal. If they are a little too personal, I probably will not answer them live, or I will just give you a sorry, I can't answer that, it's too personal type answer. But yeah, go ahead and ask questions. The only questions I will not answer, and I will tell you this right now, I will not answer any questions about my finances, my private life, which is basically anything that's behind a closed door. You're an adult, you'll figure that one out. I will not answer any questions that have to do with issues that basically are not something I want out in the general public, because factor it's not it's not for your ears or eyes. It's basically privileged information. But I do answer all questions. If you're new to my channel and you like some of the things that you heard on this particular video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and then a little bell will pop up, and click on that bell, and once you do, YouTube will let you know when I put out my next video. And until next time, you guys have a good day. Bye.